welcome to my review for The Magnificent Seven. So The Magnificent Seven is directed by Anton Fuqua, director of Training Day, Olympus Has Fallen, Southpaw, as well as a few other movies, and it stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, and Vincent D'Onofrio, and follows the classic story originated from Seven Samurai about seven people who are hired to help a group of townsfolk, a group of farmers who can't protect themselves from bandits that are coming to destroy their town. So, this is a remake of a remake, the original being Seven Samurai, and then the 1960s Magnificent Seven, which this is a remake of, is actually a remake of Seven Samurai. I reviewed both Seven Samurai and the Magnificent Seven, link in bio. So I was interested in the Magnificent Seven. I definitely liked the cast, and I haven't really seen anything from the director, but I had heard good things about him. However, what sort of held me back is that I am not the biggest Western fan. There are a few Westerns, such as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I think is amazing. Fantastic Western. And then there's also a few others, such as Once Upon a Time in the West, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and just this year's Hell or High Water, that are Westerns that I loved. But besides that, there's no other Western that I would honestly give an 8 out of 10 or more. I do really like A Fistful of Dollars. I do really like High Noon. I do really like The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. But those aren't movies I'd consider great or amazing or phenomenal. So, because of that, I was sort of held back on my anticipation for The Magnificent Seven. However, I did think that this was going to be different from, all the other older Westerns. And it's nice to see a Western every once in a while because we really don't get them too often. So, it's nice to see one. So, all in all, I was very excited to see The Magnificent Seven. And I can say that I did really like this movie. It's a very, very enjoyable movie. A few people have said that they disliked it, such as Connor, and I can completely understand where he's coming from because he isn't a big action fan, and I would say if you're not a big action fan, don't watch this movie, you won't like it. But for me, I am a big action fan, and I have to say I found this movie to be incredibly entertaining. Honestly, it's one of the most entertaining movies of the year. Just the action is fantastically shot, and it's so much fun to see on screen. In fact, the last third of the movie is practically just all action. That's really all it is. And it never, usually with 30-minute action scenes, you occasionally get, okay, so we're just sort of going through. But in this movie, you never really got that. It was a consistent flow of entertaining action just throughout 30 minutes that never really got tiring to watch, usually because we don't get a lot of Western-styled action these days. And also, I have to say, the set design and the costume design looked fantastic in this movie. It's incredible. It looked incredibly authentic to the Western feel, and it's one of the best set designs I've seen on a Western that looked very similar to it. I obviously wasn't there, but from what I've seen, it looks just like it. It's the score, how they used the original score at the end was super, super cool. The score throughout of the movie was fine, but they do incorporate the original score from the original movie at the end, and it was a very well done aspect. And I also have to say, a big concern of mine going in is I thought, oh, is this going to be like the original Magnificent Seven, where it copied way too much off of Seven Samurai? And I have to say, this movie stands out from the other two. It does not copy them too much. It's still the same basic storyline. So if you have seen Seven Samurai or the Magnificent Seven, and if you haven't seen Seven Samurai, what's wrong with you? You should go see it right now. Then you pretty much know exactly what's going to happen in this movie. However, it tells it in a very different way, and it doesn't feel like a remake as much as it does just a retelling of a similar story, which I really enjoyed because I just didn't really want to go into the theater seeing the same movie. However, as much as I have been praising this movie in these past few minutes, there are quite a few issues with it. The second act was absolutely incredibly weak, and I believe that's because that act didn't include any build-up or any action. The build-up and the action are both super entertaining in this movie, but overall the plot and the character development were incredibly weak. Most of the characters they're just characters. They don't have much behind them. They try to put some stuff behind Denzel Washington's character, but that doesn't really work out too well. It's the type of subplot that just is sort of there that you never really know too much about, and you could honestly just get rid of it. And of course that subplot is used to show why Denzel Washington's character wants to protect this group of farmers, yet at the same time, I think that it could have been executed much, much better. The main 7 characters, at times they felt pretty invincible. They aren't invincible, however, at times it felt crazy, because usually to me, in an action movie, I like to see it so that it takes the same amount of shots to kill the bad guys as it does the good guys. So, for example, if a good guy shoots a bad guy and it's one shot and the bad guy's dead, and then it's the bad guy shoots the good guy and it's one shot and the good guy's dead, and that's what I like. But if it's like 3 or 4 shots for the good guy and then 1 shot for the bad guy, that is what I don't like, and that is what was in Seven Samurai. And this movie does follow a lot of the Western cliches. The Western genre is pretty much done, I would say. And what I mean by that is that what happened during the Western times, we've seen executed on screen already. There isn't a lot to go into there. It's pretty much just a revenge Western, and that's what a lot of Westerns are, and that's really what a lot of that time frame consisted of. However, I do think that you can find individuality. If you are a Western, you can find individuality among other Westerns if you have some things that stand out. However, this one, it almost felt like a skit at times on how close it was to some of the Western cliches. Walking into a bar, the whole bar is quiet, goes up to the bar, people sort of resume but are really focused on the character. It had a lot of that kind of stuff. However, I still did really enjoy Seven Samurai. If you're an action fan, if you're a Western fan, or if you're just the person who likes to be entertained, I would absolutely recommend that you go see if you like those 3 things, I would definitely recommend seeing this movie. It's very good. Nowhere close to Seven Samurai. I would say it's pretty close to being as good as The Magnificent Seven. I don't think that it's quite there. The original, I mean. But I don't think it's quite there, but it definitely is pretty close. But all in all, I would give this new Magnificent Seven a 6.75 out of 10. So 6 3/4. Alright, that concludes my review. What did you think of The Magnificent Seven? Comment below. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.